What might be the best state in the USA to live in 20 years, to give your children a good chance at a decent life? Anywhere in New England, armable land with a little bit of land reform, access to major shipping routes thanks to ports on the Atlantic, and an education system that makes the rest of the first world look like a bunch of dunces. Cons caveats. Point 1, our food is crap. We got some good seafood, but the rest is bored garbage and cookies with raisins in them. To the winter, oh God, the winter. I would say that it's going to be more important what part of the state you live in rather than which state. There's a huge difference between the best and worst parts of each state. Is centrally located for easy access to desirable things as well as having lots of things to do in the state itself: amusement parks, natural areas, various sites with museums, events in them, etc. Maryland, to be honest, while most places have been getting more extreme weather courtesy of climate change, Maryland's weather has instead been getting more and more mild, especially if you're in the DC metro, though even Baltimore is trending that way. Baltimore definitely does have extreme weather from time to time. Economically and financially stable, too, at least compared to some others. Maybe the Portland area, or southern Maine in general. Portland has a fantastic number and variety of restaurants, plenty of fresh and saltwater fishing available, and great opportunities for the kids. Portland can be a little more expensive to live in, but the outlying areas are reasonable and still pretty liberal. Bath, Brunswick would probably be right what you're looking for. I'll pitch in for Tennessee. The weather is typically fairly good. The economy is doing well. Free community college, and it seems to be trending towards a free four-year degree too. There are also a lot of opportunities for a low cost of living, and no state income tax. Sales tax is high though, and it can be fairly conservative. But the major cities are more liberal. As a Wisconsinite, I bleed hate for Minnesota and Michigan, but those are the best options in my opinion. Especially if you push your children to their highest capabilities in school. Michigan, but if you want them to have an absolute rich childhood, Minnesota. Just the take of a 20-year-old who is looking back at childhood and schooling. The part of the state matters. The best part of a shithole state may be better than the worst part of a good state. If you check your education rankings, the Northeast is your best bet. It's not the cheapest, but you're getting something for your money. They're dense, expensive, but excellent. Wyoming is really nice. The Hathaway Scholarship for Wyoming students is amazing. The University of Wyoming is a good school at an amazing price with many scholarships available. Teachers are paid pretty well, and education really is quite important and prioritized by the state. Colorado may be good, climate-wise. The wildfires and water access are a bit concerning, but not quite as bad as California. Or as others have said, anywhere near the Great Lakes is good because access to fresh water may become a big issue in the future. Kentucky is a beautiful state with a lower cost of living than most states. Not really any natural disasters to deal with except an occasional tornado. But depending on where you live, you may never see one. Montana could very well become the new Colorado by 2050. Lots of open land for cities to grow as well as outdoorsy things to do. It will also be a few degrees warmer by then as well. In 20 years, Hawaii might still be your best bet. Where else can your kids learn volcanology in their backyard and perfect their surfing before breakfast? Chicago. North enough so climate change won't make it unlivable. Lots of fresh water. Good policies, lots of meat by farmland. Minnesota, the Twin Cities have an incredible restaurant scene, and there are great schools. We're a hidden gem up here. A lot of the bigger ones, probably in smaller cities within 3 hours of the capital, that have probably grown by then. Depends what you mean by decent. A lot would say the Midwest, but your kids might end up hating it. The Midwest is fairly cheap. I think I saw Iowa being voted best state to raise a family. Raise them in the coastal elites. Tell them to settle down in the Midwest, deep in the Appalachians. just a bunch of small towns for the most part. California, if you can afford to have a career that makes sense. Indiana, the north and west sides of Indy are growing quickly.